All right, tonight we are heading out into the cosmos to explore one of the most famous constellations in the entire night sky, Canis Major, the Great Dog. And oh man, at its heart is a real cosmic jewel, the brightest star we can see from Earth, Sirius. But here's the thing, its brilliance is actually hiding a pretty revolutionary secret.
Yeah, see, that dazzling point of light you see up there? It's not just some simple star. It's hiding a secret that totally flipped our understanding of the universe on its head. So what in the world is Sirius hiding in all that glare? Okay, but before we can uncover that secret, you gotta know where to look, right? So let's start with a quick field guide to spotting the great dog in that vast sea of stars. And the good news is, it is super easy to find. Seriously, all you have to do is look for the famous constellation Orion. Find those three bright stars in a row that make up his belt. Then just follow that line down and to the left, and boom, it will point you directly to an unmistakably bright star. That's Sirius, the heart of Canis Major. You can't miss it. So when should you go looking? The best time is definitely in the winter months, especially around December and January. Now, for those of us in the northern hemisphere, the constellation doesn't get super high in the sky, so you're going to want a nice, clear view to the south. But its main star, Sirius, is so brilliant you can spot it from almost anywhere. Okay, so you found it. Now let's zoom in on that jewel itself. Sirius isn't just the brightest star in Canis Major. I mean, it is, hands down, the brightest star in our entire night sky, which is pretty fitting, since its name actually comes from the Greek word for glowing. To really get just how bright it is, we can look at what's called its apparent magnitude. It's this kind of weird scale where the lower the number, the brighter the thing is. It's a little backward, I know. Just for some perspective, the full moon is around -12, and our sun is a blinding -27. So at -1.46, Sirius just blows every other star out of the water. So, what's the deal? Why is it so incredibly bright? Well, it's basically the perfect 1-2 punch. First, it's just got raw power. It shines with a luminosity that's 23 times greater than our own sun. And second, on a cosmic scale, it's practically our next-door neighbor, sitting just 8.6 light-years away from us. And you can bet that this incredible brightness has had people staring up at it for thousands of years. The ancient Sumerians were associating it with a dog 5,000 years ago. For the ancient Egyptians, it was the star of the Nile because its appearance signaled the river's annual flood. And the Romans, they called it Canicula, or little dog. And get this, the hottest part of summer when Sirius rose with the sun was known as the dog days. Yep, that's where we eventually got the word vacation. But all that brilliant light, it was hiding something. For centuries, everybody thought Sirius was just a single star, but a tiny, weird little anomaly in how it moved led to a discovery that was about to change, well, everything. So picture this. It's 1844, and an astronomer named Friedrich Bessel is carefully tracking Sirius. And he notices something strange. It wasn't moving in a straight line through space. It was wobbling, almost like it was being pulled around by some invisible partner in a little cosmic dance. He actually predicted there had to be another star there, but nobody could see a thing. It took until 1862 for someone to finally spot the companion. And what they found wasn't a normal star at all. It was the very first white dwarf ever discovered. Think of it as the super dense, collapsed core of a star that's run out of gas. It's the ghost a star like our sun leaves behind when it dies. So let's just compare these two for a second. Sirius A, the main star, is a staggering 10,000 times brighter than its little companion, which they nicknamed the pup. Its radius is 100 times larger, but here's where it gets absolutely nuts. Even with those huge differences, their mass is almost the same. The pup, Sirius B, crams the mass of our entire sun into a little ball that's only about the size of the Earth. Just let that sink in. This leads to a density that is, well, it's pretty much impossible to wrap your head around. The stuff that makes up Sirius B weighs about 1 metric ton per cubic centimeter. Okay, let me try to put that into perspective for you. Imagine holding a single sugar cube in your hand. Now imagine that that little sugar cube weighs as much as a car. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about with a white dwarf. This discovery didn't just solve the mystery of the wobble, it introduced us to a whole new bizarre state of matter and proved stars could die and leave these ghostly super dense remnants behind. I know, the Sirius system is incredible, right? But believe it or not, it's not the only amazing thing hiding out in this part of the sky.
The constellation Canis Major is also home to some other really spectacular deep sky objects. So if you're looking around, just a short hop from Sirius, you can find a beautiful open star cluster called M41. There's also NGC 2362, which is like a stellar nursery. It's an incredibly young cluster, only about 1,000,000 years old. But the real heavyweight champion, the absolute monster lurking in this constellation, is a star called VY Canis Majoris.
VY Canis Majoris is what we call a red hypergiant. It's a ridiculously rare type of star in the last bloated stages of its life. And to really get a sense of how big this thing is, if you put it where our sun is, its surface wouldn't just swallow Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. It would stretch all the way out past the orbit of Jupiter. It's just colossal.
So, wow, we've gone from white dwarfs to absolute hypergiants. Let's bring it all back home now and connect all this amazing science to the ancient stories that first painted these pictures in the sky for us. You know, for the ancient Greeks, the connection was just obvious. Sitting right there at the heel of the great hunter Orion, Canis Major was his bigger, loyal hunting dog, forever trailing his master across the night sky. So the story goes, the proud hunter Orion was killed by the sting of a giant scorpion that was sent by the gods. Zeus, saddened by the whole thing, placed Orion and his faithful dogs up in the heavens as constellations, so they'd be remembered forever. And this brings us to what I think is one of the coolest parts of the myth, one that perfectly mirrors what we actually see in the night sky. Have you ever noticed that you can never see the constellation Orion and the constellation Scorpius at the same time? The legend says Zeus put them on opposite sides of the sky, making sure the hunter would never, ever be threatened by his killer again. And this ancient story plays out every single year. When Orion rises in the winter, Scorpius sets, and when Scorpius comes out in the summer, Orion is gone, hidden below the horizon. It's an ancient story, a mythological decree that's perfectly enforced by the beautiful clockwork of the cosmos. A timeless story written right there in the stars.